Hey there, this is Attorney Drew Page coming to you live from Quarantine Central. Hope everybody's doing well. This video is just going to be a quick video to talk about some of the misconceptions about the stimulus bill. As many of you probably know by now, the House and the Senate last night passed a massive bill that was over 5,000 some pages for both COVID relief and funding our government for the next year. And that starts off with the first misconception about this bill. I've seen a lot of videos saying that the COVID bill was this 5,500 page document. The COVID bill was not the entirety of the document. This 5,000 some page document included both the $900 billion COVID relief plan as well as the $1.4 trillion, I believe, dollars it was to fund the government. Now, that $1.4 trillion is not really out of sorts with the funding bill for every other year that it's ever been. The only difference is for the first time, it was packaged with a $900 billion stimulus bill. So there's two separate things going on. I've seen a lot of memes and posts on Facebook saying, well, we've given all this money to the Smithsonian, the Kennedy Center, and all these things. We're giving all this foreign aid, and now all the Americans get is $600. But that's because you're not understanding that the $900 billion is not being sent to foreign aid. It's not being sent to the Smithsonian. It's not being sent to all these other things. The $900 billion COVID relief plan is completely separate from the $1.4 trillion or whatever the number was annual spending plan. Every year they fund the Smithsonian. Every year they fund the Kennedy Center. Every year they fund foreign aid and all those things. Those are things that you can be mad about Congress, the House and the Senate every single year. But that's completely different than the COVID bill. So you see the Facebook post going around, oh, the Americans are getting $600 while everybody else is getting all these millions. That's not part of the COVID relief plan. I will remind you, however, that Treasury Secretary Mnuchin had offered the Democrats a $1.4 trillion COVID relief bill that they turned down for some reason, in addition to the annual spending plan. And instead, they agreed to a $900 billion plan, which was $0.5 trillion less than they could have gotten, but they wanted to thumb their nose up at Trump and at Secretary Mnuchin. And so they left $500 billion that could have gone to COVID relief off the table and instead agreed to a $900 billion plan. Oddly, the Democrats were the conservative ones here, which is kind of weird considering that they're the ones that are now pretending to be upset that there's not enough money for the American people. So there's that. That's the first misconception. There's two separate things going on in this 5,000 page document. One is an annual spending plan. One is a COVID stimulus. The second misconception is that the $600 direct payment to the American people is supposed to go for rent. I've seen several videos on Facebook from some of these senators and Congress people decrying, oh, $600 isn't even enough to pay rent. What is $600 going to do? Well, let me ask you this. What's $1,200 going to do? That's not going to cover rent for 2 months. So what difference does it make? That's the $600 was never meant to be for rent. And by the way, the $1,200 that we got a few months ago was never meant to be for rent either. That money was to go into the economy, to get you spending money so that we can get the economy going, which, by the way, the economy's done pretty well since. This $600 is meant for you to spend. It's not meant for you to pay your rent. So you see these people complaining that there wasn't enough stimulus. What they don't realize is that part of that $900 billion COVID relief package includes rental assistance. In fact, if you go to Google and do a Google search for Virginia rental assistance, it will direct you to the Virginia Department of Housing. And you can actually file an application for rental assistance if your career or job has been impacted because of COVID. So if your children are at home and you're a single parent and you can't afford to go to work because nobody's there to watch your kids, and so you're not going to be able to pay your rent, well, guess what? You can apply for rental assistance through the Virginia Department of Housing as part of this COVID relief bill. And as a result, because you can get this money to your landlords, landlords cannot do any evictions for the next few weeks as well. So you can't, landlords can't get rid of people, can't evict them for not paying their rent. And by the way, landlords, if you're like me and you're a landlord and you're not getting any rent from your tenants, guess what? You can apply for rental assistance on behalf of your tenants. So even if you have a rental house and these people aren't paying rent because they don't want to take the time to look this up, they want to complain about getting $600, you can file for rental assistance on their behalf. And as long as it's alleged that they are not paying the rent due to COVID because of unemployment, because of their kids being stuck at home, you can still get your rent through them. By the way, I've done that myself. I've had a tenant who lost their job because of COVID, because their kids were home from school and they couldn't afford to pay the rent. Well, I can't kick them out because there's a moratorium on evictions. But in the first COVID relief bill, as well as this COVID relief bill, there's rental assistance in the bill. So you don't need $600 direct payments for your rent. Go apply for rental assistance. That's what that money's for. And then you use the $600 for something smarter, like putting it in an investment account or putting it in an emergency fund. Or you could just go out and blow it on a TV. That would be probably pretty smart. Or maybe put it on a down payment on a brand new car, because you probably need one of those too. The point is for you to spend it. But the smart money would be to take this $600 as a bonus and invest it somewhere so that it'll make you more money in the long term. So that's the second misconception. The first one is that this is two separate bills. This isn't a 5,000-page COVID document. The second misconception is that the $600 is supposed to be supplemental income so that you can pay your rent, your mortgage, and your bills and all that when there's other provisions in the COVID relief package that give you rental assistance to help you with those types of things. The third misconception is that the $600 direct payment is supposed to replace your salary if you're unemployed. Well, that's not the purpose of the $600 either. There's a $300 supplement for state unemployment in this new bill. In the first bill, it was $600 a week, and in this one, it's $300 a week. So you apply for your state unemployment benefits if you're unemployed. You go get that and you take care of it, and then they give you an additional $300 a week in addition to the state money for the unemployment. So it's bonus money if you're unemployed. You wouldn't ordinarily get this extra money for your unemployment, but you get it now as part of this COVID relief. So it's not meant to replace your salary. If you're working, you shouldn't need a stimulus. If you're working, you haven't lost anything. So what do you need extra money for anyway? Why are you complaining about getting $600 free dollars when you're already working? So if you're unemployed, they have mechanisms for unemployment with extra money, plus a $600 just bonus for you to spend on whatever you want. So why are we complaining about getting $600 of free money instead of $1,200? It's because we're a handout society. We all just want free handouts. Just give us more money. I just need another handout. You don't need a handout. If you're working, be thankful you have a job. Be thankful you have that money. That's great. And then if you got this extra $600, be thankful for that and use it for good. If you don't need it, give it to charity or put it in an investment account and give the dividends to charity, or whatever you want to do. But it's not meant to supplement your salary. So that's another misconception. The final misconception is about this. The money is going to big corporate interests. The money that's going to this corporate COVID relief is going to the big businesses, and the little guy gets left out. Well, there's a couple of issues with that. Number one, the big companies are the ones that employ people. So if we don't give money to these businesses that don't have the money to pay salaries, then those people are going to be out of work. They're going to be furloughed. Look at Coca-Cola, who's laying off thousands of employees. Look at Disney, who's just laid off thousands of employees. They need that money so that they can keep people working so that they can pay their bills and not get on unemployment. So, we can say that the big businesses are evil, but if it weren't for the big businesses, we wouldn't have any jobs. And they need the jobs to be able to take care of that. So that's a benefit. But the other misconception is if you actually read the text of the PPP loans, one of the requirements is that businesses can only have 300 or less employees. So if it's a business that has more than 300 employees, they're not eligible for the payroll protection program. So we can argue and claim and cry that this is all money going to the big wigs while the little people are being left behind, but it's actually not the case. 300 employees is really not a whole lot of employees in the whole scheme of things. Sure, it's probably bigger than most businesses. My business has about 20 some employees. So yeah, 300 is a lot more than mine, but 300 is still a small business for purposes of payroll protection program. And businesses that have more employees than that won't get the money. So apply for these things, apply for these benefits, and understand what it is that they're giving to us, as opposed to, making all these false narratives so that we can try to put pressure on the government to give more handouts and more bailouts. Because ultimately, you know who's paying for these things? It's us. We're paying for it. The government doesn't have any money. The government has our money. So you need to understand that any money we're getting is our own money back. So you ask me, am I going to take the $600? You daggone right I'm going to take it, because it's my money that I've paid in. Am I going to apply for payroll protection? You can cool believe I'm going to be applying for the payroll protection program, because I've put the money in. There's no reason for me not to get it, and there's no reason for you not to get it. So don't complain about it. Take advantage of it, and make sure you understand what's real versus what's fake news. Make sure you understand what's really out there. Even some Republican people that I've been discussing with on Facebook don't seem to understand that this $600 isn't meant for rent. That's kind of the biggest argument that I've seen. No, it's not supposed to pay for rent. There is billions of dollars set aside for rental assistance. That's for rent. The $600 is for you to spend in the economy, which is what they're hoping you do. I'm hoping that you'll be smart and you'll invest it instead, or put it in an emergency fund rather than going out to, Target or Walmart and buying your flat screen TV. I don't think that would probably be the best use of your money, but it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to with it. But don't give in to these cries of, oh, the American people are only getting $600. That's not what the bill says. There's rental assistance, there's payroll protection, there's unemployment supplements. All of that's detailed in the bill. So make sure that you apply for whatever you need, and make sure that all the money that you can get, you get, and that you use it wisely. Because we all know that there's going to be more lockdowns coming. We're already under curfew in Virginia, in timeout from midnight to 5 a.m. And there's probably going to be more lockdowns and more restrictions because, as you've seen in the UK, there's this new strain of COVID that's coming out, and there's always going to be a new strain, just like the flu. It doesn't change. The flu changes and adapts every year, and COVID's going to be the same way. So this is never going to end. So, go ahead and be prepared, and just go ahead and watch what I say, because watch this video, share it with somebody. You'll see all these people crying about $600 not being enough, and it's because they can't pay their rent. Count how many times people say that. Keep up with how many videos you see from these uninformed people or these manipulative people who are trying to get more of our tax dollars to have to give to the government so that they can distribute out to everybody and buy votes. Watch what I say. I'm Drew Page with the law firm Randall Page, giving you these updates on law and legal matters. You can reach me at my Suffolk office at 757-935-9065. You can visit my website at www.randallpagelaw.com. That's RANDALLPAGELAW.com. And you can hit my email up at drewpage, DREWPAGE, at randallpagelaw.com. Be glad to help you with your criminal matters, your speeding ticket matters, family law, personal injury, real estate, wills and trusts, anything you need help with. Give me a holler, and we'll be glad to help you. Well, hang in there. We're going to have some more video updates coming on as things progress. I anticipate the president's got everything signed, and so this the stimulus money should be hitting your bank accounts at some point, probably next week. So I'll be sure to update you as I hear any other events. Take care.